why don't you just tell us a little bit about the panels, the system, and the products that you chose?
Okay.
Just to go over that.
I chose the SunPower panels and the most efficient that I could get because I really wanted production.
Okay.
The system I took down was a 2 kW system. This is just a little over 8 K system. So I really wanted the production, so I went with the SunPower, close to 20% efficiency on them, so I could get maximum production on the panels that I put up.
Okay, great. And then there's how many panels total?
There's 36 total panels.
36. Okay.
About 480 square feet.
So how long did your installation process take?
Of the time that they just did the construction,
Yeah.
it was about a week.
A week.
A week, yeah. It's a tall roof. It's a steep roof. They're very careful about doing it in the harnesses all the time. So it took them quite a while to get them all up there. That's a lot of panels.
When did you make the decision to go solar? Because you had a system beforehand.
The actual decision to put solar, I've been playing with it for a lot of years. I started back in the 80s playing with solar. 2003 is when I put my first solar system, actual PV system, up on the roof. So I had one from 2003 until that one came down to put the new one up. And it coincided quite well because I needed a new roof at the same time. So
yeah.
Everything kind of came together last year.
Great.
So put a new roof up, took the old one down, put a new roof up, put the new one up. That's what you want to see, right?
There we are. Yep.
All right.
And you have a SunPower.
SunPower panels, yep.
Yep.
To kind of get started, I'd been talking to Sunlight Solar for quite some time, and last fall everything came together. Redid our living room out to the studs and then back in, last room that had to be insulated. At that point I changed the heating system so that it's an air sourced heat pump, which is electric heat and electric air conditioning. An electric water heater, which is also a heat pump, and there's a reason that I did a heat pump as opposed to just pure electric. The reason being, in the summertime I run it as a heat pump, so it cools the basement, dehumidifies. In the wintertime it's just electric. What else did I do then? And then I had this electrical, after you guys had done this, 2 systems, 2 independent systems, 18 panels each, 2 strings of 9, one in the garage, one in the house. And after you guys had done this, I had an electrician come in, and what I did was isolate the heating so I can measure exactly how much energy I'm using for heating, for the hot water, and this is for the garage.
Wow.
Because we charge 2 electric cars in the garage. So I wanted to know exactly where the energy was going, and then everything else is kind of the rest of the house. I'm going to got room here. I'm going to isolate the kitchen here. I know how much goes into the kitchen. So that was kind of in October. Everything came together and did everything for to kind of get this going, trying to get it down to 0 carbon. Successfully. Even though it was an extremely warm winter, they used only 2,700 kilowatt hours for heat. Hot water is probably running about half of what they say on the machine. I'm going to have an annual usage. Partly that's because you use the heat pump and it's electric in the wintertime. Charging is going to end up my electric cars are going to end up most consumption of energy.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
That is amazing.
But I went at it a slightly different way. I was looking for zero carbon, as opposed to return on investment and stuff like that. And the return on investment will happen. as far as I'm concerned, you can't find a better investment. I mean, it's just not out there in today's markets. So.
And what was your experience working with our system designer? Ryan?
Ryan Fitzsimmons, yes. Very well, very nice. Very informative, would give me the information that I needed. Maybe not quite your typical customer, only because they already had a system beforehand.
Sure.
So I knew what was going on, how it worked, what had to happen, and everything like that. So it was for me. It was really easy because I knew it was my second time. So it was not something that was new to me.
Sure. And were you happy with Sunlight Solar overall?
Oh, absolutely,
Great.
absolutely. There's some great people working there. Answered all my questions, concerns. So I was very happy. You guys are very local to me,
yes.
Which means something to me. And you're based out of Oregon, which I know is a very green state. So I knew the corporate knowledge was there. So it was that, and you seem to come off professional, more professional than just a new type of organization.
Do you refer Sunlight Solar to your neighbors? Do you talk
absolutely,
about people?
all the time.
To people?
Yeah.
A lot of people go into this looking for an investment.
Okay.
With the SRECs and the tax credits.
Yep. The tax credits are the tax credits. I mean, that's yes, I will take advantage of the tax credits. Absolutely.
Sure.
The SRECs. This is the second system I've had on my roof. This is not the first. So when I went to apply for this one, they said, no, you're not going to get a rebate. And I was concerned about, okay, if I'm not getting the rebate, am I going to get the SRECs? They said, assured me that I was going to get the SRECs, which I really is what I wanted. Since October, I've generated 5,700, over 5,700 kilowatt hours since Thanksgiving. SRECs money in my pocket. As far as investment is concerned, on a rough estimate, I came out with about 7 years return payback, and that's not including the natural gas I'm not paying for, the gasoline I'm not paying for, and is there anything else? I know there's a couple other things. So I'm figuring about 7 years. If I put all the figures together, I think it's down around 5. That if you take national averages and put them in there, is that I will pay for the whole thing in about 5 years.
Okay.
So I'm loving it.
A little bit of a unique situation, only because of the way that I did it, is that the electricity I generate during the day, I sell back to the utility at 25 cents a kilowatt hour. And people are going to say, why is he spending so much? I've been 100% green since they started the green energy through the utilities.
Okay.
So even before I put the solar up, I was 100% green. So when all this was happening, I went and got a time of use electric meter. So what happens is that during the day when I generate my kilowatt hours, if I'm not using it, I sell it to the utility at 25 cents a kilowatt hour.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
Now after the sun goes down and it comes off peak time for my usage, and I need that electricity back, I buy it back from them at 17 cents a kilowatt hour.
Okay. So math works out well on
That
your
works
side.
very well. I like that kind of math.
Yeah. And have you had to do any maintenance on your panels?
None.
And no issues with snow or anything?
None. The pollen, if it doesn't rain, the pollen can be an issue. I have seen production go down. I do readings every day, morning and night. So I know what my consumption is, and I know what my production is. I can tell when it's cloudy out there. I know, I still generate 10 or 15 kilowatt hours.
Okay.
If it's cloudy, I can tell when the pollen's up there. I don't do anything about it because the next rainstorm will just wash it off.
Okay.
So snow slides off. No, there is no maintenance to PV.
I'm taking you around on my electric meter.
Sure.
It's, I've got the AC on, and this is pushing pretty fast. That's pushing electricity back to the grid. And that first 01 reading is what I've taken from NSTAR, and this is what I've given back. So I'm about 12 or 1300 kilowatt hours away from giving them more electricity than what I've taken.
Wow.
The Leaf, typically an electric car will use, you can get about, if you use the calculation of 3 miles per kilowatt hour, you can zero right in on it. And we're getting about 4.7 because my wife and I have been practicing how many miles per gallon we can get in a Prius. So
Wow.
so we get about 4.7. And I get to drive for free. No gas bills. So my first system was just on the house. You guys put up that and the new system over the garage, and it's done tremendous on us, because what happens is the house stays cooler because the sun's not hitting the roof. The roof lasts longer, so it's really a positive effect on the roof. We had the trees trimmed. This tree right here, which probably causes the most problem, is in the process of dying. We had it trimmed. Hopefully it was going to come back, but it's not going to make it. So that's probably going to end up coming down. So my production should go up. Production numbers so far, I'm actually producing a little bit more than what you guys projected, which is good. I like that.
That is good.
That's good. So it's very, very happy with it. People don't notice it. I actually had somebody show up that was going to try and sell me a solar PV system, and he never looked at the roof, and he rang my bell, and he says, "Oh, how would you like to take care of your energy and make sure that it doesn't go up in the future?" I said, "Well, what do you mean?" He says, "Well, you know, we can get energy for you," meaning electricity, "and keep the price the same." And he says, "All I need to do is see your electric bill." I said, "My electric bill is 0. And he kind of looked at me, and I said, "Look at the roof." He goes, "Okay, sorry, bye." So people say that they think they're ugly. They actually disappear. We have a lot of people come over, and they never even know they're on there.
Yeah.
So it's something that is really not an eyesore.
Yeah.
It just kind of disappear.
Great.
And people that know about solar, they look at it and they love it.
Yeah.